Hi, this is Professor Stugard, and in this video for homework help, we're going to go through one of the more involved problems from Chapter 3. So in this problem, we have a data set, and it represents our monthly phone use in minutes of a customer enrolled in a fraud prevention program for the past 20 months. The company decides to use the upper fence as a cutoff point for the number of minutes at which a customer should be contacted. What is the cutoff point? So again, in the context here, we are looking for our upper fence, which means we are trying to determine where our outliers would be. And to find our upper fence and lower fence, that means we need to, first of all, figure out our five-number summary, particularly the Q1 and Q3, because we need those to find our IQR. And then from there, we'll be able to figure out what our fences are. So this is kind of involved, but it's really not too bad. So now the first thing I want to do is to open this data set in Excel so that I can manipulate it. So we're going to open this in Excel, enable editing, make it a little bit bigger here. And the first thing we want to do, because this is something that involves a five-number summary, and quartiles and fences, the first thing we want to do is to try to sort this. So I'm going to sort from smallest to largest. So we have everything ordered now. And this one's not too bad. Again, we see that we have 20 data points. So if I want to find Q1 and Q3, which are necessary for the IQR, I need to split this data set in half, the top half and the bottom half. So because it's 20, that's nice and easy. There'll be 10 in each one. So from 1 to 10, that'll be our bottom half. And then from 11 to 20 will be our upper half. So I'm actually going to split this to make this look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to highlight the 11 through 20. I'm going to cut, and I'm going to paste. So again, I can see that my data is split in half. I have my lower half of data in column A, my upper half of data in column D. And now, so column A, if I want to find quartile 1, Q1, that is the median of that bottom half of my data. So my median function equals, again, if I wanted to use one of my formulas, and then starts to autocomplete the median, make sure we have that parenthesis there as well. I highlight my data set, and Q1 is going to be 380. Now, Q3 is the same idea, except now, and it's the median of the upper half of my data. So if I take the median of these, I see, okay, Q3 is 479. And again, we can kind of take a look. It's always going to be, the middle point of my data. So between, in this case, because it's an even number, between 5 and 6, and if I average, these two together, well, yeah, that's going to give me 380. If I average these two together, that'll give me this 479. So I have to find my Q1 and Q3, part of my five-number summary. Now I can find my IQR. So my IQR, remember, that is going to be Q3 minus Q1. And again, we can use Excel to make this a little bit easier. So the equals will get me to my formula, and literally just click where I have Q1 minus, click where I have click where I have Q3, then minus where I have Q1, press enter. I see my IQR is now 99.5. If I want to find my fences now, again, they're based off of Q1 and Q3. So even though this isn't part of the problem, let's find our lower fence here. And so our lower fence, remember our formula for the lower fence is going to be, we start at Q1, we start at quartile 1, and we subtract 1.5 times our IQR. So to do this in Excel, again, the equal sign, so we get to actually doing math. So Q1, select Q1, then the minus, and then we type 1.5 times, and again, to do the times, it's the star key, so Shift 8, or you can use the number pad, times my IQR. And I press enter, so I see my lower fence is 230.75. And yeah, that kind of makes sense, right? It's going to be, in this case, looks like there's no outliers on the lower end, but it's still relatively close. And then my upper fence And again, this is very similar, except now it's Q3 plus, because again, we're going on the upper side, 1.5 times my IQR. That's my formula. So if I want Excel to do this math for me, the equals, and I got to start with Q3. So I select my value for Q3. Now I add 1.5 times my IQR. And again, I can just select it right there, press enter. And I see that my upper fence is 628.75. If I go back to the problem, the cutoff point, I need to round to the nearest minute. So if it was 628.75, I got to round up to 629. 629, and nice work. So hopefully that helped you figure out how to find your fences and determine your outliers given a data set on my stat lab. As always, take care of yourselves.